on behalf of myself, and it's It's very frustrating. We're not good. We're just not a good team right now, and that's just a fact. Yeah, it's frustrating. I can only speak for myself, but it's frustrating.
It's Friday. Matt McCarthy's here to help out. We'll take your calls as well on this holiday Friday, 617-779-0985. I joke about this, but I don't joke about this. It's a Friday night.
Yeah.
Summer's here.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Sox suck.
Very true.
They're in Seattle, and they don't start until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's fact, yeah.
And it's a holiday.
Sure.
I don't expect to hear from many people tonight, man.
What'd you make of the World Cup game today, Mazz? Welcome to the Baseball Hour. How you doing?
Unfortunately, we do call it the Baseball Hour, so we have to focus on baseball. And I do want your thoughts on the Red Sox, specifically as it pertains to Sonny Gray and his comments, because this, to me, speaks to morale. So, Jimmy Stewart, I'll tell you what, just play that again, okay? Because I want people to listen to the whole comment. And more importantly, I want you to listen to the tone in Sonny Gray's voice. Remember that I believe there was a mutual option on his contract at the end of the year, which means if both sides don't agree to come back, it's over and he's going to become a free agent. So I would venture to guess that Sonny Gray is gone at the end of this season, making him a prime candidate to be traded, one of the many to be moved. But again, this is a veteran guy who came here, thought he was getting out of St. Louis, which is supposed to be a bad team, coming to Boston, which was supposed to be a good team, had a chance to be in a big market and play for a contender. Now here we are. This was June 18th, was yesterday. So here we are on June 18th yesterday, and he said this.
I can't speak on behalf of the group, but I can speak on behalf of myself, and it's very frustrating. We're not good. We're just not a good team right now, and that's just a fact. Yeah, it's frustrating. I can only speak for myself, but it's frustrating.
Okay. And I think every guy on the team feels like he does. Some of them aren't going to be able to get out of here. And Matt, let me just give you these stats, because Zeke, our intern, looked them up for me. I asked him to look them up. I said, give me the Red Sox records in a variety of situations. Like, I want to know what their numbers are, just so everybody can understand the comprehensive nature of their suckitude, for lack of a better word. It's really. So let me just go right down the list, top to bottom, so that we all understand that this is, there's nothing fluky about what the Red Sox are. First of all, overall, they are 29-43. They are now 14 games under 500. That is 72 games into the season. That is a season low. Their home record, 12-25. Worst in baseball by 3.5 games. Their OPS at home is 684. That's 27th in the majors. Home runs at home, 28th, last in the major leagues. Runs at home, 126, 29th in the major leagues. Record in one-run games, 5-11. Record in two-run games, 7-12. Record in three-run games, 3-6. Record when losing by 3 runs at any point in any game, 0-32. Record in extra innings, 1-3. Runs scored overall, 282. That's 29th in baseball.
That high?
OPS, 695. That is 25th in baseball.
Oh, wow.
On base percentage, 313. That is 23rd in baseball, despite having a batting average that ranks 15th.
Oh.
So their batting average is 15th, but their on base is 23rd.
Nobody knocks more singles than the Red Sox.
And it also means that they don't walk. Slugging, 382, 26th in baseball, despite playing in hitter-friendly Fenway Park. Home runs, 61, 29th in the major leagues. Strikeouts, 593, 21st in baseball. So, Sonny Gray sounds frustrated with good reason. What does that tell you, Matt?
Sonny Gray says we suck. Yep, you're right. We suck. And that tells me that he wants out of here. And can you blame the guy? I mean, those comments yesterday, and I give him credit. He's like, I'm not going to speak for the group. I'm only going to speak for myself. But, man, we as a group, we stink. And the translation is, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And good for Sonny Gray, because he's not going to be a part of this for much longer. He might have to suffer through this for another month and a half at this point, but he's not going to end the year here. And the point being, Mazz, with all those stats you just rattled off, very few guys should end the year here. They do have veterans, despite all of that, who are performing, who are worth something. They all need to go. If the Red Sox don't have...
Would you trade Contreras too?
I wouldn't. Here's why. And I really like Contreras. The point being, you suck way too much to have untouchables. You can still, I believe this strongly, you can turn over teams in baseball. You can be worst one year and first the next. Is Contreras the first guy I'm trading? No. Am I trading him for a song? No. If I'm getting good value for Wilson Contreras, he's going too, because I just, this team is so bad that you cannot possibly have many untouchables. I would prefer to have him around next year, but if there's a team that's going to blow you away and give you a good offer, bye-bye, see you later. You know, you get 90 cents on the dollar for Wilson Contreras, see ya. I'll drive you where you need to go.
Okay, so again, blow you away is a different thing, because if you get blown away on just about anything, then you do it,
sure,
right?
Yeah.
But I understand your point.
90 cents on the dollar, I'll take it.
So I guess, you know, for let me ask you this tonight, Matt, and I ask our listeners as well, because I think this is an important question when it comes down to the trading deadline. Before you even engage in the trading deadline, you have to decide something. Obviously between now and August 3rd. But I would say you need to decide something now. If you're going to make a deal anytime in the next several weeks, and we're still about 6 weeks out from the trade deadline, you need to have the answer to this question now so that you know what you want when it comes to the trade deadline. Do you believe that the Red Sox can be competitive next year and basically pick up where they left off at the end of the 2025 season? Do you believe that?
I do believe that. I believe that can happen anytime to the Boston Red Sox with the assets and the resources that they have. You can go from worst to first in baseball like that. It's the easiest of the four major sports to go worst to first. So my expectations have to be compete in 2027, assuming we play baseball, and that should be their expectations too.
Okay, so then my question to you is, why trade Contreras?
Okay.
So and let me just expound a little bit, okay? Is that this idea of, listen, I don't think there were really any untouchables on this team, save for maybe Roman Anthony and Garrett Crochet. But I do believe that not so long ago, at the end of 2025, the Red Sox were a playoff team. Now, they weren't a world championship team, but they were a playoff team. And they had what we thought was a promising young nucleus, and they have since added to the pitching staff. Overall, I would say the starting pitching on this team has been pretty good, save for Brian Bayo, who is a complete effing disaster. But if the idea was to be playoff caliber this year and a threat to win the division, I don't want to rip this thing apart. And the biggest hole on the team is right-handed hitters. Mm-hmm. So you have Wilson Contreras for 2 more years. You have him for 1 more year under contract, and then there's an option on 2028 that they could pick up. And that's not ridiculous money. So you could have Wilson Contreras in the lineup. So if Roman Anthony, between now and then, improves as a young player should, and they were to go out and get another right-handed bat, who that is, I don't know, but they have pitching to trade, and their pitching is healthy, and Tolley takes a step, and Early takes a step, and et cetera. Between Suarez and Crochet, you're in pretty good shape. You should be able to jump right back in and pick up where you left off. So I don't want to have a fire sale. Mm-hmm. And this gets into a gray area. I admit that. That when you are talking about moving guys, you get to the deadline, it says move all your old guys. I don't want to move all my old guys if I want to be good next year. I think that they could be good again. Now, there are other issues and other questions that people have, like, do you have faith in the organization? Do you have faith in ownership? Do you have faith in the leadership? All justifiable questions. You still need talent. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that is my argument for keeping Wilson Contreras, but go.
No, and that is a very reasonable argument, and I can't disagree with anything you just said there, Mazz. The only reason I would say is that Contreras is not untouchable for me is theoretically, and again, we're talking about the Red Sox here, who have no right-handed hitting. Theoretically, you should be able to find a veteran right-handed hitting guy with some pop who can come in and have an impact at Fenway Park. Those guys should be a dime a dozen. So if somebody's going to give me a really good deal for Wilson Contreras, I'll make that deal. Am I rushing out the door to trade him? No, because of all the reasons you just outlined. He's a good fit here. He's a veteran guy. He plays good defense. He works at Fenway Park. So they've struggled to find an impact first baseman. So I'm not rushing out the door to do that. The only argument I'd make is if you're getting a really good deal for him, I should be able to find somebody this offseason to replace that production. Now, do I trust Craig Breslow to do that? No, but I'm hoping the next general manager can get it done. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So listen, I mean, I get it. I just think people are divided on this issue. And the deadline's coming up, and the Red Sox are going to have to decide what path they want to take. Somebody raised this to me today. I mentioned it in my opening take today on Agenda Free Friday on Felger and Mazz. I'll just repeat it here quickly. Don't judge the Red Sox by who they trade at this deadline.
Sure.
Judge them. And when I say judge them, I don't mean you can judge them for whatever you want. I'm just saying what we are going to learn about the Red Sox is not going to be based on who they trade out. It's who they bring in. Mm-hmm. If they go for prospects, you've got another rebuild. Okay? If they go for guys like they did in 2015 that were established major leaguers, they traded John Lester for Yoenis Cespedes. They traded John Lackey for Alan Craig and Joe Kelly. Now, Alan Craig ended up being a bust, but Joe Kelly stuck on the big league team for a while. The point is they went out and got big league pieces. They didn't go out and get prospects for those guys. Maybe prospects would have been the better move. But the point is they made a concerted effort. And by the way, Lester indirectly, yes, Lester for Cespedes for Rick Porcello. Okay, Rick Porcello ended up coming in and won a Cy Young Award here. So, if let's just see what type, I guess what I'm saying is this. They're going to tell us a lot by what they target. And they're also going to tell us whether they're willing to take on money, because those veteran guys, if they go for established players, those players cost money.
I think this is the most important point, Mazz. It's not just have a fire sale who you're trading out. What are you getting back?
Exactly.
I do not think Red Sox fans have the appetite for prospects. I don't either. But I've got an argument as to why you should target prospects. I don't know if you want to get to that on the other side.
Sure,
at some
absolutely.
point in the program. They should be targeting prospects. I don't want them to go out and get big leaguers, and I'll explain why a little bit later on.
Okay, so we'll get to that next. And also, there was a sequence in yesterday's game that I thought illustrated why the Red Sox are who they are. And I'll tell you what, they were down 3-0. They got the first run and then hit back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the eighth. And yet, I'm going to sit here and tell you that I think the spirit of this team has been broken. And I think despite coming back in that scenario, the Red Sox quit yesterday. And I'll explain how that happened when we come back, along with Matt's take as well, tonight on the Baseball Hour. Right, 1 second. Matt, you said before we went to break that you would not trade for established players. You would trade for prospects. Why?
Well, what type of established players are going to be available at the deadline? Guys who are broken down or some other team's problem. So they're going to come here and become your problem. You want to trade for major leaguers, that's fine. You have to do it in the offseason. So the real move here for the Red Sox is when they have what I hope to be a fire sale at the deadline, is they trade for prospects and then this offseason flip the majority of those prospects for established major leaguers. There are a million different ways to get established major leaguers. You're just not going to get them at the deadline, because what team who's adding to their roster is trading away from their 26-man roster when they're trying to win a World Series?
Gotcha.
That's why they're trading with you. So my fear is what the Red Sox are going to do, Mazz, is they're going to trade for problem, and then major leaguers who have issues, be it injury concerns or performance or what it may be. They're going to trade for established major leaguers at this deadline and say, see, it's not going to be a rebuild. And they're going to sell us on that the same way they sold us on that in 2014 when Lester went out, when Lackey went out. And what happened in 2015? They sucked again, because for the most part, they got broken down guys like Alan Craig and Joe Kelly, who was not a starter. They tried to make a starter, but wasn't. Again, you're getting an injured guy and a guy that St. Louis was ready to give up on in Joe Kelly, who didn't become an impact guy for you really until accidentally in the playoffs in 2018. I don't want that. You have to trade for prospects and then get the big leaguers this offseason. But my fear will be is that the Red Sox will trade for major leaguers and say, see, don't give up on us now. No. Accumulate assets, spend assets this offseason.
Okay, so what you're talking about is really an intermediate step.
Yep.
Bring in the prospects and then flip them. Which is, listen, I'm all. I guess my point is, my ultimate goal is the big league team. I do not want another rebuild.
Agreed.
I don't want another rebuild. Matt's in Rhode Island, wants to talk about firing Craig Breslow. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, yeah, just to start with a Caddyshack quote when Chevy Chase says, well, you're not, I don't know, you're really not, you're just not good. You sucked all year long. There was one game against the Braves where I felt maybe they're going to turn this around. Like, it's literally been like that. So when they didn't put their best foot forward to get Pete Alonso, they went with this run prevention thing. This is all on Breslow. If he handles the trade deadline, I would assume that he'd be here next year. But my question is that if they fire him right now, who would handle the trade deadline and all these transactions? Thanks.
Okay, so Matt, that's a good question. Who would handle the deadline?
I would imagine it would be Eddie Romero or the guys who are still here. I mean, it's a major question and it's a major concern. Whether or not Breslow is here, how involved is ownership getting in managing the deadline? There's only one person at the ownership level who I want involved in baseball decisions, and that's Theo Epstein. And my sense is that Theo doesn't want the job. Otherwise, he already would have taken the job. So, yeah, I mean, you blow out Breslow, that's good. I'm all for it, but who is running the show? They don't really have anybody to run the show.
Do you think that if they keep Breslow for the deadline, that means he's not getting fired?
No. I mean, they fired Dombrowski after the deadline. They fired Cherington after the deadline. They fired Bloom after the deadline.
They let all three of those guys run the deadline.
Yeah, so my guess is they're going to let him run the deadline, but he's going to be told by ownership, here is your directive. You are subtracting from this major league team and adding, probably, my guess would be major leaguers or something close to it in return.
Right.
They're going to give him an assignment, and he's going to do the assignment, and then he's going to get fired. But he's not going to do the assignment probably to the best of his abilities because he knows he's getting fired. So if you knew you were getting fired, would you come in here, Mazz, every day and give it your 100%?
Okay,
if you knew you were getting fired.
Okay, but he might not know that he's getting fired.
I think he knows.
He might go to them and ask, and they might tell him yes, and then they might fire him anyway. They might lie to him.
Right.
So, I understand your point. All I'm saying is if you fire Breslow, you're still in the same boat. You don't really have anyone that you can trust to run the deadline that's done it before. And, again, people talk about Eddie Romero all the time. He's never been a big league chief executive either. So that's another one that you look at and say, okay, either way, you're putting someone of experience in the position. When you're at this stage, there is no good answer. Okay, you don't replace your chief baseball officer until after the year. So if you fire him now, you're still going to have to replace him after the year. You're not going to get someone, a Brian Cashman, to come in and run the deadline for you at the last minute. Ken's in a car. Ken, what do you got?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Always a great show. I don't know. I know you guys are talking about a lot with prospects and what this team's going to do, but I just want this team to be in a win-now mode, but they're so far from it that I don't even know what their next step is. I know Matt made a good point, flip the prospects that you potentially get at the trade deadline and get major league talent in the offseason. But how about a guy that's never really talked about that he's still recovering? What the hell's going to happen to Tristan Casas? Ship his ass out. I wanted you guys' thoughts on that. Thank you.
Ship him out for what? You're not getting anything for him. Why do people keep bringing up Casas?
Because he's just there.
This is nothing against Ken or anything, but forget about it. He's done. The career's done. He's never going to play first base for the Boston Red Sox again, and if he does, that's a real problem. It means something else has gone wrong.
I mean, on the trade market, his value is zero.
As it should be. So,
it's close to zero.
Yeah, I mean,
the guy hasn't played basically 2 seasons.
I mean, there have been a million guys in history who have gotten hurt or have not fulfilled their potential or promise in any way, and they become worthless. And Casas is worthless.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Take a quick break here, give you the headlines. Are you doing those, Matt?
I would guess Majori would be doing.
Majori's going to do the headlines. When we come back, I told you there was a great, what I call, example of basically giving up in that game yesterday. And it was not the pop-up that the Red Sox allowed to drop between Connor Wong and Caleb Durbin in the bottom of the 8th inning. And that preceded on the very next pitch. It would have been the third out, the pop-up. It landed in foul territory. And the very next pitch, Brendan Valenzuela hit a double off the left field wall. Toronto took the lead, and they beat your ass 4-3. And that's not what I'm talking about. And late in that game yesterday, the Red Sox quit. I will explain how when we come back. Majority's got your headlines. team?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, here's the sign of a loser team. You tied the game 3-3 after being down 3-0. And you've yet to win a game all year long in which you've been down 3 runs at any point. You come back and tie in the bottom of the 8th. Hit back-to-back solo home runs of all things from guys at the bottom of your order. Kiner Falefa and Caleb Durbin hit back-to-back home runs to tie the game.
The Bash brothers.
You then go into the next half inning, you bring your closer in. 2 outs, man on first. The number 8 hitter is up in the lineup. And Brandon Valenzuela has a 9-pitch at bat against Aroldis Chapman. 9 pitches. The number 8 hitter against a guy who has been maybe the best reliever in baseball since the start of last year. I looked this up the other night, Matt. It's on the Breaking Ball segment that I did late this week because Chapman's probably going to get traded. Since the start of last year, among relievers who have pitched at least 80 innings, Aroldis Chapman has a 0.99 ERA that is the best in baseball. So Chapman gets a pop-up in the infield, the ball drops, but on the 9th pitch, that was on the 8th pitch. On the 9th pitch, Valenzuela hits the ball off the wall, and the Red Sox fall behind 4-3. 9-pitch at bat from the number 8 hitter against one of the best relievers in baseball over the last year and a half. The Red Sox then come up in the top of the 9th and go down on 5 pitches.
Couldn't be more right about that.
3 batters, 5 pitches. And you had your numbers 3, 4, and 5 hitters up. They had the number 8 hitter against your closer, 9-pitch at bat. You came up 3, 4, 5 hitters and went down on 5 pitches. That was a bad sign.
Couldn't agree more, Mazz.
And they've done crap like that a lot this year, where they've gone down quickly and just really without much of a fight. So we'll take your calls here. I got a bunch of them on the board. Much to my surprise, I'm very happy to see it on this Friday night, this holiday Friday, in really late June at this stage. Bobby's in Worcester. Bobby, go ahead.
Gentlemen, good evening. As a Red Sox fan, I was born in '98. My dad, my uncle, they told me I was born in a blessed generation to be a Red Sox fan. 04, 07, 13, 18. Now, what does it mean to be a Red Sox fan? It feels like Fenway Park is a tourist attraction. We don't try to win. I don't know what the answers are. I don't know the technicals. But coming from a Red Sox family, we want to win. And it just doesn't feel... It used to be about Red Sox Nation. Now it feels about whoever shows up to Fenway Park.
Okay, Matt, sorry, Bobby. I didn't mean to cut you off. Have a good weekend. Matt, any thoughts?
Yeah, you have no reason to not feel any other way about it, Mazz. Yes, they are a tourist attraction. Fenway Park in some ways has become part of the problem with the Red Sox. But the fact of the matter is they can choose, ownership can choose to get serious at any moment they can, any moment they want to. They can choose to start spending a little bit more money on the team, but more importantly, it's about bringing in the right baseball people. That's where they need to get serious. But yeah, you should be dejected, and how could you not be depressed as a Red Sox fan right now? Hard to disagree with anything he said.
So, Bobby, I don't mean this in a bad way, okay? But you don't know the half of it, pal. And I say that with all the love in my heart. You were born in 1998, so that makes you, 28 years old? And your team has 4 titles. There were people before you, and you know this because you cited your parents or your father. I can't remember which. But those people went decades, nearly a century, without winning anything. So this is a small blip to them because they've seen it before. And I understand your frustration. I'm not picking on you. But believe me when I tell you, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. The Red Sox had years and years and years of futility and tragic collapses that make this look like ice cream. So, but I understand your point. The ballpark is a tourist attraction, and that hurts the cause. Just look at what's going on now. The team just left town.
Yep.
But the other night, it was a bunch of Scots that took over the ballpark. So, and listen, whether it's Scots or Dodgers fans or Padres fans, or you get the idea. It's always going to be someone that wants to go in because the place is a museum. Matt in Boston, okay? Matt's on hold, I think. Let's go to Carl in a car. What do you get, Carl?
Yeah, I just want to say, or just want to ask you if you could explain what Theo Epstein's role in this organization is, because it sounds like we're giving a lot of flack to Craig Breslow and John Henry, but doesn't Theo Epstein sit between them in this organization? And, is Theo Epstein just a bad manager when it comes to managing Craig Breslow, or is he just not focused on those types of decisions and just focusing on concessions or something else?
Okay, so Carl, you just threw a 92-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle of the plate for Matt McCarthy. Go.
We should be holding Theo accountable for this. He's a part of ownership. Theo's a part of the problem. He's not a part of the solution at this point. He could choose to be a part of the solution, Mazz. He could choose to get more involved in baseball operations. He doesn't want to. I mean, we hear, from reporting and Tim Healy that Theo is displeased with the analytical direction that the organization has gone in. Do something about it. You're a part of ownership. You can choose to get involved and you can choose to fix this if you want. But every once in a while, you just kind of parachute in and say something on a podcast, and we all say, you know what? Theo's right about that. And he is right. He's right about the things he says and he believes, and he's not doing a damn thing about it. So I actually think we should start. Listen, Henry gets crushed in this town, and Sam Kennedy gets crushed in this town, and Tom Warner gets crushed in this town. Theo Epstein is a part of the group too. Shouldn't we start crushing Theo for this? Doesn't he hold some accountability in that? Theo was in the room, be it in person or on Zoom or whatever, when they chose to fire Alex Cora. So he's involved in some way, shape, or form. I can't blame him for this too. Come on. We should be able to blame him for
Plenty
this.
of blame to go around, Matt. That guy's still on hold. That's Matt in Boston. We will try Gary in Rhode Island on how frustrating the Red Sox are. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, me and my buddies were talking about this, right? We remember 6 teams in the 70s on the same division. We haven't been frustrated like this with a little 4-team division that they're in now. And we can't even pick a favorite player on them anymore. When you're going back Tony Amos, you're going back Dwight
Tony
Evans.
Amos? What? Holy crap.
I'm just talking about this is how old I am. And it's like we can't even pick a favorite player. It's so sad. And we're afraid that when they make a trade that they're not going to evaluate these players, and we might be 5 or 6 more years, and I might be 75 years old by then. This is really frustrating.
Gary, believe me, I hear you. So, look, it's been, this last 7 or 8 years has been about as stretch as I can remember, at least in my lifetime. And I had this discussion with someone today about the worst periods in Red Sox history. And I'm talking about blocks of years. And the early 90s were bad. It really only went on for about 3 years.
Right. Yeah, 91 to 94.
Yeah, it was, and even then, 91, Clemens had a great year, if I remember, in 91. In fact, I think he won the Cy Young that year. Check that. I think that year he won it. He won it in 86, 87, and I think his other one was in 91.
That might have been in 90. It was Roger Clemens in 91.
Okay,
right.
yeah.
I like 21-6 with a 1.93 ERA.
In fact, Jimmy, I was going to say, I think he had a sub-2 ERA that year. He was really good.
They went 84 and 78 in 91.
Yeah, they weren't that horrible in 91.
92 and 93 were bad.
92 to 94 were bad.
Yeah.
They were garbage, all those 3 years. And then baseball's work stoppage came. And then Dan Duquette took over. And in 95, they made the playoffs. So it got better again. Now, look, they had a little gap in there, too. 96 and 97 were bad. So I would tell you that, but it changed because of the new GM. And then 98, Pedro hit and everything changed. So actually in 97, Nomar came up. Okay. So it in those years, it started to get a little bit better. The only period I can really compare this to is 92 to 94, or in the early 80s, they were bad, but they were kind of fun bad. They had some entertaining teams. They were bringing some kids up. Ralph Houck was the manager back then, if you can remember that. And I know nobody gives a crap about this. All I'm telling you is that in terms of bad periods in Red Sox history, this one's up there.
Yeah, and those 80s teams would have been bad, but they would have had recognizable star players. I mean, Yaz was on his last legs. They still would have had Rice. They still would have had Evans. At that point, I mean, Lynn and Fisk were gone by that point. But this team, I mean, it's Garrett Crochet, who's hurt, Roman Anthony, who's supposed to be something, and then after that, I mean, Mickey Gasper's your leadoff hitter. For
exactly
Christ's sakes.
right. Yeah, this is really as dark as it's been in a long, long time. John is in Foxborough. John, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I went to Fenway on Wednesday night with the Scots, and it was probably one of the funnest nights of Fenway I've had, which is sad with how bad the team is. But the two things I wanted to say was that kid Bennett pitched that night, and I was pretty impressed with he had 6 Ks, went however many innings, gave up 2 runs. Like, you can't get 2 effing runs for the guy to just pick him up with a rookie guy who's out there probably crapping his pants at Fenway Park trying to pitch. And then with Duran and Meyer, those 2 guys, can they take a pitch? Like, you get these pitchers who are have 30 pitches through 4 innings against them. Can you take a freaking pitch?
Yeah, so John, listen, first of all, they can't score for anybody, not just Bennett. I mean, again, Sonny Gray pitched a good game yesterday and ended up with a no decision. Do you know that Sonny Gray's 8-1?
No, 8-1?
8-1 is his 1-loss record for a bad team.
No kidding.
And going into yesterday, I think they were 9-3 in his 12 starts.
They have been better behind it, but 8-1. I would not have guessed that.
So my point is that Sonny Gray should have some value on the trade market if you can go 8-1 with a team like this. And I know people don't think wins and losses mean anything. I'm sorry, you go 8-1 with this team, it means something.
He's an older school guy. He knows how to pitch to the situation. Yeah, I do agree. Wins do matter a little bit.
Let's Dylan and Braintree. Dylan, what do you got?
And you guys are talking earlier about the early 90s, late 80s Red Sox, but that wasn't the Sox fault. Everyone was on roids back then. As soon as the roids era started to close, the Red Sox became great for a decade. What would happen with the Red Sox if steroids never happened? That's what I think about a lot.
If steroids never happened?
Yeah, because right after the steroids ever ended, the Red Sox won a insane amount of World Series. What if it never happened?
Yeah, it did happen, but you're missing the point. Everybody was on steroids,
right?
It wasn't just the Red Sox, but I will agree with you from the standpoint of people think that somehow the Red Sox weren't. They were.
Oh yeah, they were.
The whole game was. But yes. Had David Ortiz not come to Boston, what would have happened? I think that's a legitimate question. So from that standpoint, I always say, Matt, if we're going to talk about the history part of it, we look back now on Patriots history and say it was all Brady. I mean, in a lot of ways, can't we say it was all Ortiz? 04 was Ortiz. I think 07 was, 07 they were a wagon. 13 was Ortiz.
13 was Ortiz and John Lester.
And so now in 18, Ortiz wasn't here, so you can't pin that one on him. But I guess what I'm getting at is I think David Ortiz kind of changed the culture of the Red Sox and turned them into winners.
Yeah, I mean, he was a huge part of it. I would say for 86 years, though, Mazz, the Red Sox could not pitch. And the reason they ended up winning in 2004 is they could pitch. And I'm just comparing the history of the franchise. Now, Ortiz is the number one factor in all of it with the clutch hits. But let's not forget, those starters and Schilling and all that. I mean, we all know Curt Schilling has done a lot to damage and taint his legacy. But Schilling is a massive reason why, things changed around here, too.
For sure. No question. I just think, again, having Ruth and Gehrig in the middle of your lineup and Ramirez and Ortiz made a massive difference.
That's pretty good. Yeah, pretty solid. The Red Sox have that now with Durbin and Falefa based on yesterday, right?
Jason Vermont. Jay, go ahead.
So I would like Matt the Stat to verify this, but I believe if they lose in Seattle tonight, their record since the last time John W. Henry spoke to a collected media on Monday, February 17th, 2020, will become 471 wins and 471 losses exactly, pure mid over 6 years.
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, they've been right around 500 really for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
So, and look, the number's cute. Don't get me wrong. 471 and 471 is obviously perfectly mediocre. But I would tell you that if it's, if you stretch it out a couple of years and it's 581 and 577, what's the difference?
It's true.
You're basically a 500 team for 8 years. That's what you are. 500 for 8 years. And the 2 years you made the playoffs, in 2021, you won the playoff game against the Yankees and then you beat the Rays. Then you lost in the LCS in 2021, right?
Yep.
In 2025, they made the division series and didn't win the series.
Wild card round.
They've only won one playoff series in 8 years. Do I have that right?
Yeah, you have.
19, 20, and 6 more.
You nailed it.
They've won one playoff series in 8 years. The Boston Red Sox, after having the run that they have had.
Sounds about right. That's across 3 general managers, too.
We'll squeak in one more call here. Tom's in Providence. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Mazz, I wanted to say, there's a guy right under their nose, J.P. Ricciardi. He's on Nesson all the time critiquing the Red Sox and whatnot. The guy knows his stuff. Why hasn't he even been mentioned as a possible GM? Because I think he'd straighten this mess out, believe me.
Okay, so you know what? He's crossed my mind. Can I give you an honest answer? First of all, do you have an opinion on JP?
I like him very much. I've met him once or twice. Super guy.
And he was the GM of the I almost said the Maple Leafs, the Blue Jays for a little while. Here's what I would tell you. I would never wish it upon him in a million years. I would never wish it upon him in a million years. And I say that out of respect and fondness for J.P. Ricciardi. The way this organization is operated, I don't want anybody taking that job who I have any sort of personal history with. He's a tremendous evaluator. I don't know if he wants to GM again. I mean, I don't know. He's got to be a little older than me, so I don't know how old JP is or whether, because Theo doesn't want to do it again.
66, according to Wikipedia.
So I don't know whether he wants to do it again. My guess is, you know what? Like, I could see him, when they hired Theo Epstein, he had a senior advisor in Bill LaJoy.
Yep.
So could I see JP doing something like that? My answer is yes.
He actually did that for the Giants from 2018 to 2023 when they had a young GM, kind of Bloom-esque guy out there. Ricciardi was his Bill LaJoy.
Okay, so I could see him doing something like that.
Special advisor to the president of baseball operations.
Yeah, but I wouldn't wish it on him in a million years. I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't put the guy into that sort of chaos. Anyway, any final thoughts, Matt?
Absolutely none, Mazz. I'll talk to you next week.
Okay, there you go. Matt, thank you for coming in as always.
Anytime, Mazz.
On a surprisingly good Friday night. How do you like that? Kevin Majori's got your headlines here. Joe Murray's coming in, I'm assuming, Kev. Is he?
Yeah.
Joe Murray's here.
I'm going to stick around with Joe, actually. We're going to talk some footy, Mazz.
Oh, really?
We're going to talk some World Cup.
All right, I'll have to listen to that on the way home. So Joe Murray's on his way in. Everybody have yourself a fabulous weekend. We'll catch you on Monday.